Here we go. We're going to be looking today at the human figure. We're going to start by looking at the simple areas that are associated with finding out your proportions by looking at the mannequin. See, we have one here. Some of you already do own one of these, I know, but basically it's a simple form of how the human body is broken down. So we have the head, the neck, the torso, the waist. Here's the abdominal area, the leg down to the knee, down to the ankle. We've got the foot and pretty much upper, lower arm. That's for the shoulder and the hand. So if you have one of these, it's good. You can see it front on, side on, around the back. You can move the model into different positions so that you can see how the body looks. Obviously these are quite stiff, but that's okay for what we're doing, because mainly what we're looking at is how the figure sits. Now we're going to be looking at how to draw an adult because it's a 1 in, well, 7.5, 8, but we're going to look at a 1 in 8 model because that makes it easy. No maths really needed, very difficult. And he is standing up, so you can see the human figure. This here is your halfway point. Okay, so like when we did the face, the eyes were the halfway point. With the body, here is the halfway point, just where the thighs start. Okay, now we've got to be putting that into our drawing, and we'll do that in a minute. But what I want us to first look at is the basic shapes that's involved. So if I have this model standing here like this, and I asked you, what's the basic shape you see? You would be able to see a rectangle first and foremost. So we're going to start with that, and I've put a couple of models here that you can vaguely probably see a little bit where it's been cut out around that shape so that you can actually see the rectangle quite clearly. So I'm going to start with us looking at how to draw our basic shape for this. We're going to draw the rectangle first and foremost, so let's start with that. So in your visual diaries you can write the human figure. What you're going to need for today's lesson is going to be just your ruler, your pencil, an eraser. If you want to, you can do some coloured pencil with it, or if you like colour, we've got the watercolour pencils or watercolour. You can use that on them, just so it's easier for you to see. Like I would if I was in normal classroom, I'm going to use the charcoal just so that you can not have any trouble going, what is she drawing there? Okay, so the basic shape is the rectangle. So I want you to draw this first. If you like it really neat, feel free to use your ruler on these. It's always a good plan. If you're quite happy to just freehand it, that'll be good enough. Now, if we want to have our flat rectangle become three-dimensional, which the human figure is, we need to turn it into a rectangular prism. So we have done work on this, but just a reminder, we redraw our rectangle, and it's simply a repeat of that rectangle behind. So the easy way to do that is to first put in your 4, hopefully from this angle you can see it better from there. Hopefully they're even. You can get them on the same angle. If any of these are going like up or flatter, different shapes, your back rectangle will be out of shape. And if you can keep them about the same, then these should run parallel to that. And at the back it'll be the same. And that gives you your rectangular prism. Okay, another shape that is three-dimensional that you can get from the rectangle is the cylinder. So we start by drawing our rectangle again, as with each of these, and then we literally, if you're uncertain, you can always do a little mark above and below the line to give you a reference as to how to make your circle, bring it down to the corners and just round those corners off so that they're not looking too square. And then that will give you your eclipse for the top of that, and you can do the same then at the bottom. This can be our dotted one for behind. That will give you your cylinder. Okay, so with all of those, you can see on the human figure here of our model, she's looking there like a straight rectangle, but you can see when you turn her to those side planes, that's the side here, or you could look at her as rounded like that. So both of those will work for her or him. I'm saying her because I do have a male mannequin as well. This one looked a little bit more like no one in particular, so I've picked that one. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is look at whether you've got the human figure like anything. The light hitting it is the same as well. So let's put a light source here. And let's get our rectangular prism. Now, because we've got the light coming from that side, this is the side that is going to be in shadow. It's hitting the top a little bit, so we're just going to do that one side, and the same will be for our cylinder. Start your cylinder, same way. The light's coming from this side, so this is the side of the cylinder that is going to have the shadow. Yeah, no problem with that one. Good. Now, when you look at our female, so that would be the whole person, and you can see here I've got a light source there. You can see the opposite side being in the shadow. But in the mannequin, each of these individuals are like little cylinders themselves. See that? The body is made up of lots of little cylinders, which is the same for the human body. So here we have a basic cylinder. Here we have a basic cylinder. The legs are the same, even the torso. So what's good to do is let's redo that. If you need a little center line, is helpful for you to be able to see but see, you can bring it out and in. Our cylinder can have other shapes to it. If you look at our mannequin here, the mannequin comes out and in, because the real body does do that. So get your cylinder drawing and just round that in this case. So you've got it like that. You do your little circle at the top and the bottom again, and put your shadow this side because our light's here. Okay, and that will be more in keeping with what we're going to be doing when we come time to draw our mannequin in a minute. So that's a really great way to look at that one. We've also got a circle that is used in the head and at the joints, so I'll quickly just do a little circle here. And same thing, the light source is a little bit to the top there, so we'll just bring that around like so and just create a shadow there for our circle. Okay. If you have trouble with drawing any of these, you can just put a little question in, ask me about it. But if each time you consider the basic rectangle shape is in all of these, see that? Doesn't matter whether it's three-dimensional or flat, the rectangle is the main thing we're looking at, and that's the individual parts and the whole. Okay. Now, for those of you that are a little bit older or are good with your drawing, another way we can draw the rectangle is if it's looking at us, as if it's coming towards us. So in that case, you can give yourself a center line so you can see the back of the rectangle is going to be shorter, the front will be longer because it's coming forward. So you can draw where those are, and if you've got a center line, you can quite easily get that nice angle, and then you can literally just draw the front of it that way. That is like this. See the correlation? Yeah. And if you want to, you can draw the back of that in as well. We'll come down to there and there. In this case, then the shadow will be in this part. Yeah. And the same can be done with your cylinder. So if you put your center line, same thing. The back is shorter, the front is longer. You can bring that down. Like we talked about, top and bottom. Put your, and same here. Shadow on this side, same as there. Or the whole front. So that's your cylinder done as well. Might as well do that one as well. So even that, smaller at the back, bigger at the front, but in this case we're going to bring it out and in, out and in. It's just not so dramatic as it was. It doesn't come in quite as far because of the perspective change. Probably a good way to see that is directional for those of you that are older. So when you've got, because the body itself isn't quite as stiff as that, so to get that nice flow, which we will look at a bit later, you can have it. So let's say we're coming this way, your cylinder can be like that, there, there. So this is now that rectangle has become a little bit more curved. Again, and that will give you a nice way for you older students when you're doing foreshortening or extending, and it also will work in the opposite direction. You could have it small here, you can have it larger there. There you go. If you're doing this in coloured pencil or paint, you can actually put that in to make it nicer. For example, there's the aquarelle pencils. If you wanted to add colour into yours to make it nice, you can always just use this. Let's put it on this one. If you're trying to get a good shadow and non-shadow area, you can literally just put some colour on that side like that. Leave the other side, the light side, pretty clear. And how nice is that, having colour? I can see they're a little bit crooked. If you like, I've got my watercolour as well here, so if you like, you could also do it with the watercolour. And that'll be a nice way to just make your page look really good. Yours won't be as messy as mine because obviously charcoal is quite smudgy and mine is a bit smudgy there because it's the nature of it without sealing it. But if you wanted to make a coloured version, feel free to do that. Okay, so that's the first part for us, and that is looking at how to create the basic forms that you need. What I'd like you to do is get that drawn up. When we have our live chat time, we can go through this together, and anything that you had trouble with, we will look at. But this is what we were going to be looking at first and foremost. So have a go with that and see how you are.